From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a big day here on LALATE with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. In this recording, we go over that monthly stimulus check and how many checks you're likely to get and why you're likely to get more from those Democrats. Then we go to the recon. Deal done. You're getting $3.5 trillion of checks under the fourth stimulus recon. These aren't checks for children's. These are checks for you. Seniors, workers, across the board. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to you under the fourth stimulus recon. I'll go over some of these checks and incredible great news. Then the vote, the deal, the bills, all you need to know in the final 15 of the final 7. In this week, you're going to see a vote on the bipartisan, the infrastructure, the roads and bridges the Republicans represent. But with that vote set, there could be another vote right before it, and there's also a plan B. Meantime, yesterday, Nancy Pelosi and Ron Portman firing swings at each other. I'll go over the dramatics of what they said and why this is incredible great news for you. And then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up a lifetime. This is a big lift of my SSI, SSDI, and my veterans. It's coming this fall. And then we turn to the big money across the board that viewers continue to get, as one viewer got $17,000 over the weekend. The second biggest payout ever for rent on this channel after Nisi, who got $20,000. It's your day to get this money as well. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful set of news. And there's a lot of breaking news you're going to see in this recording, starting right here, right now, on Afternoons LALATE. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day. How are you? Hope you're having good weather where you are. Last night, we had a massive rainstorm here in LA. Yeah, you did hear those words, right? Rain in Los Angeles. It just never really happens in the same sentence, those two words, but we had it. Several hours of rain last night, and yeah, I was singing. Jump on the live chat. Tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. A lot of breaking news about the fourth stimulus check updated 2021 in this recording. First, we're going to go over those monthly stimulus checks and why the Democrats are likely to give you more months of checks. Then we cut to the recon, fourth stimulus, and this is deliciousness because guess what? You're getting $3.5 trillion of checks under the fourth stimulus package. I'll be going over some of those checks. Checks for everyone. This is not third stimulus. That was the checks for children. This is the fourth stimulus, and there's checks for seniors, checks for workers, checks for us. I'll go over all the incredible details in this recording. And then we cut to the final 15 of the final 7. In the final 15 minutes of this video, you will see the most jam-packed coverage of the next 7 days, in which there's a vote set for the bipartisan. But does that set up a vote for the recon? And is there a plan B? And what did Nancy and Ron Portman say in firing shots over the weekend? It's all really incredible great news. Then we cut to the big money. As SSI and SSDI were promised a lift of their benefits during the campaign trail, it's now happening. It's happening in fifth stimulus, and it includes my veterans. Yes, very exciting news. It's coming up later in this video. Then we turn to the big money across the board, as Nisi got $20,000. Art Sullivan got 3 items. John got 10 to 12. Louis 18, and a new viewer over the weekend got 17. And this is LALATE, America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. And in the month of August, watch us as we expand then to a new show every hour on the hour. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record in 1 year. I want you part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, too, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Let's get right to that breaking news starting right now. Monthly stimulus checks from the Senate and the House. Different number of checks, different amount of payments. Let's go over what you need to know on this big afternoon's broadcast. When you look at the two payouts, they're slightly different. Starting with the number of checks. House, pandemic plus 1 year monthly. Senate, July to December. Let's go over the payouts. $1,000 after the first month for the House. And then Senate, monthly, unknown. But word on the street is the Senate would pay you this. Deliciousness. $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000, or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. 4 weeks ago, we thought maybe the pandemic may not be over. And if it was not over, then we thought, well, maybe the legislators would just give us 1 year of checks. 3 weeks ago, we realized the pandemic isn't over. 2 weeks ago, we realized it's definitely not over. And last week, we realized it's far from over. And if that's the case, then the House bill would pay more than 12 checks, which would be more than $13,000 from the House. Compare that then to this and the Senate. I think you have an opinion. I think you have an opinion. Jump in the live chat right now and vote House or Senate. House or Senate. Tell me how you're tuning in, how the weather is where you are, and tell me where you're tuning in from. House or Senate, I will see you voting right now. Who gets his fourth stimulus check? Democrats represent that if you got a third, you get a fourth. So, single individual, $75,000 less, you get a fourth stimulus check. The Democrats represent. Married couple, $150,000 less, the Democrats represent. You get a fourth stimulus check. Double it. Family of four, Democrats represent. You get a fourth stimulus check. Quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, congratulations. Democrats represent. You get a fourth stimulus check. SSI, SSDI, veterans, and more. The fourth stimulus check would be the same amount for adult dependents and everyone else. The fourth stimulus check would not be income. It's not taxable. And the fourth stimulus check is not a waivable check. It's a monthly check, and I learned that, unfortunately, over the weekend. I was at Mitch's Lobster Fest, and I went up to him, and I said, "Hello, Senator McConnell. How are you? Good to see you, LA. How are you?" "I'm good. I wanted to wave at you." "I'm not a waivable check, LA." I looked at him, and I said, "Well, Mitch, you're not a monthly check either. Get out of here, LA." The fourth stimulus check was to land in the month of July for the month of July, and they could still get it done, but also in the month of August for the month of August. In this recording, we're going to then turn to the second part of the big battleground, which is recon. Done deal. You're getting $3.5 trillion of checks under the fourth stimulus recon. Congratulations. This is not checks for the children. This is checks for you, seniors, adults, everyone across the board. I'll be going over some of this incredible sums of money, $3.5 trillion, in the second part of this video. It's incredible, great news. Then we turn to the vote, a bill. The bipartisan, the roads and bridges, set for a vote this weekend. If that is going to a vote, then what else goes to a vote? Oh, yes, I think you know the answer. It's getting real incredible. That's the final 15 of the final 7 of this video. But first, here's a preview of the second half of this video. It's fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up if you're on benefits like SSI and SSDI VA. Promised you during the campaign trail, now happening this fall. I'll have all the incredible details of that as well. But first, let's get some moolah. Boy, you are killing it. If you've gotten rent from this channel, post in the live chat right now. If you've gotten utilities, post it. If you got Snap, post it, because your numbers are absolutely deliciousness. When I was recording videos several weeks ago, I said for rent, I can get you $5,000 of actually 4 to 6 months of rent. Now you are getting a lot more. Nisa got $20,000 from this channel from rent. Yes, and she's not an anomaly. Over the weekend, another viewer got $17,000 to $18,000 for rent. Oh my goodness. Utilities, I said $300 for utilities. Viewers are now getting $3,000 daily for utilities. When we turn to Snap, I said $5,000 to $6,000 a Snap. Some viewers are getting, now viewers are getting $10,000 to $18,000 for Snap. Because of my videos and because of you. John got $10,000 to $12,000. Louis got $18,000. Get a pen and paper ready because we're going to go over all that money right now. I'm going to show you how to get rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and also homeowners utilities. Each place has different eligibility. But first, what's going on? This is what we do here. When this channel was launched, this channel was about you cashing checks, not about tracking checks. In April of last year, EIDL loan and EIDL grant checks were not going out, so they were not trackable. But then I got $25 million of them for viewers, cashable. In fall of 2020, second stimulus checks were not going out. They were not trackable, but I've got viewers $250,000 of rent in the fall, cashable. Like Tyrone, who cashed $15,000 of rent for his family of 4 out of Boston, paid all his bills all the way till May of this year. And now we're doing it again. And the only difference is you. You're getting enormous sums of money, so post them in the live chat right now. Let's get to the details. You're going to reach out to different places with different eligibility. If one says no, reach out to the next. Always apply. Don't ever not apply. And are you ready? Here we go. You're going to reach out to different places. City Hall, City Housing Authority. County Hall, County Housing Authority. State Hall, State Housing Authority. The keywords viewers to tell me are really making the big difference for them. Keywords are rent assistance because of COVID, or mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. You don't say words they don't know, like stimulus, or a Mitch's fan club. They don't know that. No one knows that. I mean, does it exist? I don't know. And there you go. Congratulations to Tim and Linda who got this wonderful pot of money. The next pot of money is the money coming back from your states for SNAP. If you got in rent, posted right now. If you got in utilities, posted right now. But the snap is incredible. John got $10,000 to $12,000. Yes, John, congratulations, my friend. And then Louie, 18,000. Yes, go, Louie. I'm really proud of you. Lynn Glenn got it for herself, her son, and her mom. Gail got it as well. What is SNAP? It is money for food. What is the eligibility? Easier than generally a stimulus check. How do you get it? Department of Agriculture. How much does it pay? A fortune. A family of four out of Hawaii gets upwards of $16,000 a year now. Wow, why so much money? Because of two wonderful executive orders, one from Biden, one from Trump, that raise your benefits up 15% between now and December. So go get it. And you're killing it. We're killing it. You're getting $16,000 for SNAP for a family of four out of Hawaii, $5,000 for rent, but we're showing, $20,000 for viewers for rent now. And we're only 10 minutes of this video. Well, we got more money right now, and it's the money coming back from your states. States have been ordered to return money back to you due to overpayment of unemployment benefits and a computer error. One viewer got 3,000, one viewer got 5,000. If you got this as well, jump in the live chat. Where's the landing direct deposit? Can you track it? Yeah, go to IRS. Go contact your state. Say, hey, state, where's that check to overpayment of unemployment benefits? And can you track it with a computer that actually works this time? And then finally, the wonderful refund check back from IRS. Margaret got it, Cod got it, Michael got it. Now, IRS gave us an update just days ago, and the update is there's a new wave of checks coming out. Yes, this one's waivable. Insert your own joke here. The average amount for this waivable check is refund is $1,265. Wow. Direct deposit started July 14th. Paper checks started July 16th, and there's a new wave every week. Wonderful. Now, if you have not posted your success stories in the live chat right now of rent, utility, SNAP, do it every time you're in a video. Why? Every time you're in a video, do it, because three wonderful things happen that all help other viewers. We're all about helping one another on this channel. When you post your money, this is the first thing that happens. Other viewers see it. So if we have 1,000 people in the room and 200 people post the success stories, they realize, wait a second, I need to go get this money. Number two, you see someone like Art Sullivan who got 3 items, or Nisi who got 3 items. Suddenly you realize, wait a second, I got 1. Let me go get some more. And then finally, it updates us about numbers. Suddenly we see SNAP is going from $5,000 to $6,000 to $18,000. So I'm really excited for you. This refund check from IRS, where, when, and how. Let's say you had $9,000 on unemployment benefits. You paid $5,000 of taxes, of which $4,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits. Congratulations. You're getting back $4,000. Where? Direct deposit. When? Or in the mail. When? This month. Can you track it? Yeah. Go to irs.gov. Do a transcript search. And 70% of the time, it works. It reveals the tax return you filed, the taxes you paid. And then it'll reveal stuff you never knew. It'll reveal stuff that you didn't want to know. It'll reveal when Mitch was on Star Search, was that hairstyle he had from Amazon hair? And then finally will reveal the refund check you're getting back from IRS. Can we top that? We can. As we go into the second part, reverse, the second part of your Four Symbols Check updated 2021, starting right now. Deal done. You're getting $3.5 trillion of checks under the Four Symbols recon. And yes, over the next few weeks, I'll be ensuring that you know how and where to get it as a Purple Hawk. Hawk, because most of this money is first come, first serve. This is incredible great news, because first the recon was this behemoth and had roads and bridges in there. They couldn't pass it on July 4th because it was not passable. The Democrats were asked, would you vote in favor of this with roads and bridges in there? They said no. So they took the roads and bridges out, shrunk it, made it smaller, put the roads and bridges in the bipartisan, and made the recon passable. What's the confirmation? A conservative publications op-ed just days ago. It confirms my reporting. First, it says the higher the top line was price tag on the recon before, the harder it was to pass. There you go, confirmation. But by allowing the Democrats to take out some of the spending from the recon and put it in the bipartisan roads and bridges, it made the overall price tag of the recon smaller. There you go. In other words, the bipartisan deal made the recon passable. There you go. Sorry, such a Mitch. Well, Republicans don't really feel set up because they think the bipartisan is deliciousness for them. But we love the recon, because once they shrunk that recon, taking roads and bridges out, the progressives were able to add a little bit more in, and they got a price tag, $3.5 trillion. And that $3.5 trillion is exactly where they wanted it to land. Representative Elon Omar, Democrat out of Minnesota, said, we have to have a recon that goes as far as we want it. You got it, Elon. Congratulations, $3.5 trillion. Representative Richie Torres said that we have to have a larger recon. You got it, Richie, $3.5 trillion. Congratulations. And the Progressive Caucus was meeting daily with the White House to ensure the recon went big and bold enough. Well, How do they do this? By protecting the recon. Because everything in the recon is checks, 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 all progressive ideology of checks. And Brian Schatz, Democrat Hawaii progressive, and Jalapal, Democrat Washington, all said that the White House told them to protect the recon. Quote, the White House considers the progressive priorities in the recon its own priorities. Wow. So what is a recon? How do they call for a vote? What is in there? When do we see it? All the deliciousness you need to know. Let's go over all that starting right now. You see on this video and on this channel, I use only two words: recon for our money, bipartisan for roads and bridges. Easy breezy. But mainstream media and the president uses other words. So let's go over those other words first. Our words on this channel: recon, your money; bipartisan, roads and bridges. Those are two easy words. But the problem is the president and mainstream media is using other words. What are those other words? Let's go over them. Recon, also called reconciliation, also called the budget bill. Price tag $3.5 trillion. People quoted an article about recon would be a Bernie Sanders. Bipartisan, also called infrastructure, also called roads and bridges. People quoted an article about it, a Ron Portman and a Kristen Sinema, a Mitt Romney. Price tag $1.5 trillion. What is a recon? Who writes it? How is it done? A recon has both a procedural and a substantive recon. The authors of the recon are Democrats, for Democrats, to be passed by Democrats. Who writes it? The subcommittees of the House. The subcommittees of the House are delegated the subject of writing it, with the Senate subcommittees helping them. Under the Constitution, they're divided subject matters based upon their subcommittee topic. So, House Ways and Means Subcommittee responsible for writing stimulus checks. Also, extension of unemployment benefits. They write and they write and they write, and they edit and they modify and they vote and they finish. And then when they're done, they send those pages up to Chuck Schumer. Let's say we have 10 subcommittees with 10 pages they write. They combine it, it's 100 pages. They send it up to Chuck, and he puts a big S on it for Laverne and Shirley. No. For Chuck Schumer. No. For Senate. He puts an S on it for Senate, and that's your Senate bill. Reconciliation. Before that, there's no requirement of the Constitution for transparency. So they don't have to show you, they do not have to show you, those subcommittee members, what they're writing, what they're not writing, what they're voting for, what they're voting against. They don't have to show you. When the recon is debuted, we see it. And later in this video, I'm going to show you that that is not the finality whatsoever, because we have a lot of steps in which that recon can get modified. But that is the first time you see the recon, not a time to give up or to sit back and celebrate, a time to continue to push. Mainstream media and myself both agree that we've not seen the recon because the Democrats won't be showing it to us until it's done. Sort of like a pop singer who has an upcoming album won't be showing you the songs until the album's released. So if you do see someone that posts a comment or says something like, I haven't heard in the recon that, well, the reason you haven't heard is because we don't have it. And there you go. Can we top that? We can. As Jalapal wrote Schumer a letter just days ago saying Chuck called the vote. That letter was signed by 12 House Democrats who are among the 100 plus who had written the president a letter saying we're going to be putting monthly stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. Whoa, that's wonderful news. Can we top that? We can. As 7 members of that House Ways and Means subcommittee, wait, the one you just went over? Yep, that same one. Wrote the president a letter recently saying we're going to be writing monthly stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. Oh my goodness, that's wonderful news. We got to keep them to that promise, Purple Power. Absolutely, push, push, push. But they also wrote your third stimulus check, and they represent their writing a fifth stimulus check. That's coming up later in this video. Can we top that? We can. As the president has done it, Biden did it. The global international corporate tax rate is now a minimum and a item of international law. 5 weeks ago, the president went overseas internationally to have a ceremonial signature. Just a ceremony, not the actual signature. It happened just days ago back here in the States. And that global minimum corporate tax rate minimum is a tongue twister, and it's also now law. And this is huge news for stimulus. Why? Because it's complicated, and it's a tongue twister, and you don't want it in forced stimulus. Literally, that's the reason why. Here's the details. First, easier to write the recon because this confusing thing ain't in there. Easier to call the vote on the recon because this confusing thing ain't in there. Easier to vote on the recon because that confusing thing ain't in there. And easier to pass the recon because that confusing thing ain't in there. Boy, can we top that? We can. As we go into the final 15 of the final 7. In this final 15 minutes, this video will go over potentially the final 7 days in which the recon may get done. We're going to see the bills, the votes, the dates, the wrangling, the plan B, the backup plans, everything you need to know, and what's happening. It's hideously complex, but I'm going to make it simple and breezy for you. Then we turn to fifth stimulus, which raises your benefit up in the new fist stimulus this fall, it's all incredible great news. But also wonderful news is the volunteers. If you've had problems finding that rent, utilities, internet, or SNAP, jump into the community page. Where are they? Open the description to this video. Go down the description. You'll see an emoji of a house. Click that link. It'll send you to the community page. It's news.la.com/community. On the community page, you'll see a series of volunteers separated from Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Reach out to them. They'll help you get that money for rent, utilities, internet, and SNAP. And here's a little bit about them. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds with that final 15, a final 7. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on Afternoons at LALATE as we go into the final 15 of the final 7 with exciting great news across the board. We're going to be going into the final 7 days, potentially, of the Force Stimulus Battleground and what you need to know across the board. And we also turn to Fist Stimulus with more of that as well. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Thank you for tuning in to our new Afternoons LA show, which is at 1 o'clock. It comes before this. It is a throwback video. And then at 5 o'clock, it's coming up tonight, a new Evenings LA, followed by a new Overnights Crypto. And I want to see you across the board. Let's cut right to Fist Stimulus from this fall. And this is really what the president had promised during the campaign trail, but did not deliver. Now the Democrats are taking care of it for you and doing what the president has not done yet. And this is raising up your benefits a lifetime. First, they're going to remove the asset limit. Then they're going to apply the inflationary benchmark, raise your benefits up, remove the marriage penalty, and remove the income exclusion. Let's go over how this works starting right now. First, they'll raise your benefits up a lifetime. Who's you? You. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, SSA, or multiple beneficiaries. That raise up of your benefits will happen under this Fist Stimulus. Then they'll apply the benchmark. This will likely go to a vote about October, November, so the benchmark would likely be applied in December. What will be the new benchmark? It will be inflation. Where will that inflation rate be? It will go up? It will. Jay Powell, head of the Federal Reserve, testified on Capitol Hill last week that the inflation rate will be transitory. That means that it's going to spike to a temporary high and then come back down. That spike will happen in December. Yes, right when they apply your benchmark. How high will this inflation rate go? Wall Street last week was confirming my reporting of about 5% interest rate, inflationary rate. So there you go. So let's do the analysis. First, they'll raise your benefits up a lifetime. Then they'll apply the benchmark. If it's 5%, then you'll step up another 5%, not just next year, a lifetime. Because once your benefits step up, they never step down. It's incredible, great news. Then they're going to remove the asset cap dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't have more than $3,000 in hand. It's going to go away. They're going to remove the income cap dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. And finally, the marriage penalty is going to go away. Love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest. You'll no longer fear a loss of benefits and no longer be penalized by the marriage penalty. Viewers like Rob and Sandy will be able to get married. And there you go. That's fifth stimulus. But if you're in the live chat and you notice people that have an emoji of a purple hawk next to their name and you don't have one, you need to go get it. Where is it? It's under the video where it says join here. Also on the top of the description and under the video's chat box. By becoming a member, you're delivered daily from me a breakdown of all the big money under third stimulus. Why would you not get this money? It's $10,000 to $20,000. Why would you not get it? This is money dedicated from the federal government to you under third stimulus. And guess what? It was there under second stimulus as well. When second stimulus passed, there was a $600 stimulus check. I said, I'm going to get you $6,000. I didn't get you $6,000. I got viewers $15,000 like Tyrone. And when third stimulus passed and it was a $14 stimulus check, I said, I'm going to get you $14,000. I didn't get $14,000. I got $23,000 for Nisi. So consider becoming a member so that you get delivered daily from the YouTube community page a breakdown of all the big money to you that's available for all this money. And when fourth stimulus becomes law, we'll be doing the same thing as well. Purple Hawks, get ready to pounce because there'll be $3.5 trillion of checks for you to get under fourth stimulus as well. Meantime, if you're missing the first, second, or third stimulus check, you need to file that tax return, request it. On the tax return, there's an actual line item for it. If you haven't done it, reach out to a tax preparer to do it for you. And will there be a fifth stimulus check? There will be. The Senate Democrats, House Subcommittee Democrats represent, they're giving you a fifth stimulus check as well. That would be next year, and it would not overlap. And with that, time to go into the final 15 of the final 7 starting right now. We're going over the final 7 days, potentially, of the fourth stimulus check battleground in these final 15 minutes, and there's a lot of news. A lot of information. I'm going to try to make it as simple as I can for you. Let's start with your provision, which is reconciliation. Well, deal done. $3.5 trillion is the done deal. They've agreed upon the price and they've agreed they're passing it. So it's no longer an issue of whether it's passing. It's passed. All they have to do is call the vote. Now, the fact that they have that agreement is huge, as Senator Danny Kean says, because all they have to do is slot the monies into the provisions. Then the price tag is also huge, because Bernie Sanders entered the meetings asking for $7 trillion. He walked out celebrating at 3.5. Why? He says he got exactly the amount of money he wants for the programs just for half the amount of time. Easy breezy. Now, what are some of those provisions of the $3.5 trillion? It's just checks for everyone. Remember, this is fourth stimulus. This is not third stimulus. Third stimulus is checks for children. These are checks for everyone, including my seniors and including my workers. We're not going to see the recon bill to the very final end, and later in this video, I'm going to show you why there's still time to modify it and will be modified. But here are some of the early preview of some of the other check items in the fourth stimulus, $3.5 trillion for you. Checks for free school meals, checks for tax breaks, checks for cheaper prescription medication, checks for immigration reforms, checks for farming, checks for elections, checks for free internet. They're going to provide you free internet at your local city. Cities will be given fortunes so that they can run a free internet operation for you. Checks for clean energy, and then here come my checks for my seniors and checks for my workers. First, checks for my workers. There'll be checks for workers, checks for unions, collective bargaining, and independent contractors. There'll be checks for seniors as well. Checks for seniors, Medicare expansion, lower eligibility, checks for dental, checks for vision, and checks for hearing care. There you go. Let's cut over now to the bipartisan, the roads and bridges. The bipartisan roads and bridges had an update 2 weeks ago from Mitt Romney, Republican senator. What did he say? That the vote would happen last week or this week. At the time, I said, not going to happen last week. I was right. It's happening this week, according to Mitt Romney. Now, what did Chuck Schumer do last week? Last week, Chuck Schumer called a vote. He called a vote not on the roads and bridges bill, but to end discussion about the roads and bridges. That end of discussion, I expected to not pass. It did not pass, but it worked. Why did it work? Because after he called the vote on the end of discussion and it failed, suddenly the Republicans said, we are done, practically. What? Let's go over what happened. Senator Ron Portman, Republican senator, delivered a letter to Chuck Schumer of 11 Republican senators saying we are ready to vote on the on the bipartisan roads and bridges infrastructure this week. Oh my goodness, really? Yes. So Ron Portman represents that the vote is ready for this week. This is huge news. All right, now let's step back and go over my opinion of the situation. I have to weigh Ron Portman versus Mitt Romney, two individuals which I've covered extensively on this channel over the last year. When weighing one against the other, who outweighs the other one? Mitt Romney any day of the week. Mitt Romney has always delivered on time, details, provisions, and speed. When he says something is going to happen, it happens. When something is going off the tracks, he gets it back on the tracks. When he wants to write something, he writes it very quickly. And that's what Mitt Romney has been very good at in the last year. Ron Portman, on the other hand, Ron Portman has been notorious for this channel. In May of last year, when people were losing their homes, their businesses, and their cars during the pandemic at its worst stage, he said, "Get back to work, you're lazy, I'm cutting off your unemployment benefits." He's not particularly had a good track record with viewers. And so engaging the two people, one versus the other, I'll put my weight behind Mitt Romney, who does believe the vote's happening this week. Okay, so breaking news you're hearing for the first time on Afternoons LA is that there was a war of words over the weekend, actually yesterday, between Nancy Pelosi and Ron Portman, booked on the same talk show, but at different time slots, one before the other. What were they saying? Interesting. And I'm going to show you, see why I'm bringing this up first, earlier in this final 15 and final 7, because this is really fascinating. Ron Portman basically said that he's ready to vote on the infrastructure this week and call the vote right away, meaning call the vote before the recon. You know we can't do that, of course. Nancy Pelosi came on air and said, "We're not doing that. Never, ever, ever going to do that. We're calling the vote on the recon before the bipartisan." Now, let's back up. If you've not been with this channel before, let me educate you. They have to call the vote on the recon before the bipartisan. If they don't, the recon fails. They have to call the vote first. Nancy has said that is how it's going to be done. The president, Chuck Schumer, Jolipal, everyone, every Democrat understands the recon gets called for a vote first. But Ron Portman went on broadcast media on Sunday, said, "Let's call the vote on the bipartisan right away." Nancy Pelosi said, "No, we're not doing it first." What's really interesting here is not so much who wants to go first, but that suddenly Ron Portman is so aggressive in asserting that the bipartisan is ready to go. Interesting. You could look at it as really great news that maybe if he's so aggressive in that position, that maybe the bipartisan is ready for a vote this week and that he is being accurate. Here's what you also need to understand is the flip side. Over the weekend, a news article surfaced, actually several news articles surfaced, but ultimately you saw what I did in the reporting. I said two of the articles start the same way and then they go on tangents, different tangents. I went with the article that I believe is more accurate. And what did the two articles start as? That the two articles start as the Democrats don't believe that Ron Portman's going to get done this week. That was even in a conservative publication. Then the articles go in different tangents. Let's go with the one that I believe is accurate. The Democrats don't believe that Ron Portman's going to get done this week. And that if he does, great. But if he doesn't, they will remember the last 15 years where Republicans said, "I'm done, I'm ready, I'm done, I'm ready," and then the clock runs out. The Republicans have done this to the Democrats before, where they run out the clock and then the Democrats are left with nothing. So these Democrats don't want that to happen to them again. So what is their plan B? These are where the articles separate. The article I believe that is accurate is the following. It claims that Chuck Schumer, head of the Senate, met with his Senate Democrats over the weekend, and they all universally agreed, even the most problematic Democratic senators, yeah, those ones, that if the Republicans really do not get the bipartisan ready for a vote this week, and it is not voted on this week, then the Democrats will call a vote on the recon now. Whoa, this is totally different. Yes. What's going on? 3 weeks ago, there were certain problematic senators who are Democrats said, you can't call the vote on the recon if the bipartisan is not done. And that means that I will not let you vote on the recon. I will vote against the recon if the bipartisan is not ready. Now those same Democrats, reportedly, these problematic Democrats have said, no, at this point it looks like the GOP is starting to drag their feet and run out our own clock run out the Democrats' clock. I'm not going to let GOP run out a Democrat clock. And now those problematic senators, even them, have said, call the vote on the recon. If Ron Portman does not get it done this week, call the vote on the recon, and away we go. Remember, Ron Portman, roads and bridges, your money, recon. Ron Portman, if he doesn't get it done, doesn't get his bill done, then let's do two things. First, Ron Portman wants his roads and bridges to go first so that you don't get your recon. Then Ron Portman, if he goes second, is trying to run out the clock, some Democrats claim, so that you also don't get your recon. That's why the Democrats have this taken care of. I'm going over all these analysis so you understand it's being planted. It's being planned. They have this all planned out, the Democrats, because they anticipate this game from the GOP, allegedly. Let's go over the voting and then the bills. First, the voting. When we're talking about a recon, just one recon, because we got recon procedural and recon substantive, you have it coming out of the subcommittees, going to the Senate floor, then to the House, and then to and then back to the Senate, off to the president. What you need to know is that each step, Democrats may modify the language, not the Republicans, the Democrats. When it lands on the Senate floor, the senators can modify it. When it lands in the House, will the House Democrats modify it? Yes. On Friday, the House Democrats said, we're not a cheap date. You're not going to just give us a Senate bill and say, rubber stamp it. I'm going to make modifications where I want to make modifications. What's important for you to know is that House members on the floor are not necessarily on subcommittees. So a subcommittee may just be a few people, but a House floor could be hundreds of Democrats. They never had an opportunity to take a bite at the apple. Now that's the opportunity to take a bite at the apple. And when they're done, it goes back to the Senate for potentially a 2-day vote-a-rama, and then the senators can make another bite at the apple. So, not done yet. Number 2, when you see that bill with that S on it, not for Laverne and Shirley, but for Senate, and you see that recon bill for the first time, it's not law yet. We have an emoji for it. Remember, at the moment, not bill yet. We have an emoji for that. But then when we see the bill, not law yet. It's huge because the bill may be right, it may be wrong, and that they have a lot of steps in which to modify something. So Purple Power, you need to push now before it's bill. You need to push after it's bill because that is not the finality. I'll say it 1,000 times. That is not the finality when you see that recon on the Senate side because it'll go to the House and then back to the Senate. They can modify it. So you have to push Purple Power. And with that, a lot of breaking news across the board. I'm next back with you on Evenings LALATE tonight at 5 o'clock. Meantime, if you missed it over the weekend, the major announcement for this channel was the following. This channel will be expanding its programming. So now you'll be able to, in the month of August, starting the month of August, enjoy not only 24 hours a day, 7 days a week of shows on this channel, but shows every 2 hours at least. And so you'll be able to interact with your Purple Power friends, get into the live chat with your friends on new shows or replay shows or new sirloin shows every 2 hours on the hour. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, I want you part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video. 3,000 likes. Every like helps. And consider becoming a member so you get access to all that delicious money that's in Third Stimulus. I'll see you next on Overnight's Crypto. Stay on this video. It'll automatically take you in Overnight's Crypto. And coming up next is Evenings LA. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.